2311 and Front Row Motorsports will lose their charters in 2 days unless their latest court motion is successful. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Happy Monday, folks. Yesterday, the action was on the racetrack. Today, the action is off the track, in the courtroom specifically. There are new pressing details in the ongoing 2311 Front Row versus NASCAR antitrust case, but first, real quick, let's get everyone up to speed. Almost a year ago now, 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports did not sign the new charter agreement. Instead, they chose to sue NASCAR on antitrust grounds. The teams then filed for an injunction saying the release language in the charter agreement was illegal, and a judge agreed, granted their injunction, allowing them to continue suing NASCAR while also racing as chartered entries. But NASCAR appealed, and recently a panel of 3 judges reversed the original injunction decision, telling the teams you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't sue NASCAR while also getting the benefits of the charter agreement you wouldn't sign. Last week, 2311 and Front Row tried to get the full appeals board to hear their arguments, but they were denied. As things currently stand, 2311 and Front Row are likely to lose their charters this Wednesday, potentially Thursday. That's 3 charters each, 6 total charters that would be returned to NASCAR. That's the backstory. This is what's happening today. 2311 and Front Row filed court documents seeking a temporary restraining order and a new preliminary injunction. Their attorney, Jeffrey Kessler, says that new evidence has emerged in the discovery process that helps their argument. The teams are arguing that it's not economically viable to race full-time as an open team. They also mention again here that drivers and sponsors could back out of their deals if the team can't supply them a charter. The 2 teams also expressed concern over NASCAR repossessing the charters and then selling them to other organizations. The team said, quote, NASCAR has signaled its intention to immediately move to sell or issue 2311 and Front Row's charters to other entities, putting the teams in irreparable jeopardy of never getting their charters back and going out of business. They claim that NASCAR told them recently that there is already interest from multiple prospective buyers. Who might those prospective buyers be? Is this all a bluff on NASCAR's part? I'm not so sure. We know Legacy Motor Club is interested in buying a 3rd charter. Jimmy Johnson recently expressed confidence that his team would have a 3rd charter by 2026. They've tried to purchase one from Rick Ware Racing, but that's also now tied up in a separate court issue, may not be going anywhere, so perhaps this lawsuit presents Legacy an opportunity to expand. RFK Racing might be another prospective buyer. They are currently leasing their 3rd charter from Rick Ware Racing, but Rick Ware's new owner recently suggested that he's not interested in selling off that charter completely. So if RFK were ever to establish a 3rd full-time car long-term, they may have to buy a charter from somewhere else. This could be their opportunity as well. Legacy, RFK, or some other team swooping in to buy one of these charters while they're available could be the irreparable harm 2311 and Front Row are warning the courts about. Because I don't know exactly what would happen in this hypothetical example. Say NASCAR repossesses the charters later this week, Legacy Motor Club buys one, signs a driver, gets a sponsor, builds a team around this 3rd full-time car for 2026, only for the teams to win the lawsuit in December. What happens then? Would the courts have the power to unwind that charter transaction, move that charter from Legacy back to 2311 or Front Row? Or would that charter stay with Legacy and 2311 Front Row would have to seek damages in other forms? See what I mean? This could get messy extremely quickly. So the teams say NASCAR has told them they have interested buyers. Is that true? Is that the teams bluffing to try and get this injunction granted? Was NASCAR bluffing when they allegedly told the teams that? A lot of unknowns here, but that's what's been filed today. In addition to the teams making claims, NASCAR actually responded publicly as well. In their statement, they claim that they have reached out to 2311 and Front Row for a settlement proposal, but the teams have not taken them up on their offer. NASCAR's statement reads in part, quote, As both the Fourth Circuit and the District Court suggested, NASCAR has made multiple requests to 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports to present a proposal to resolve this litigation. We have yet to receive a proposal from 2311 or Front Row, as they have instead preferred to continue their damaging and distracting lawsuit. I guess that really doesn't surprise me. One of the main things 2311 and Front Row have sought throughout this entire process, through the negotiations and now the lawsuit, they have sought permanent charters. NASCAR, Jim France, would not budge during the negotiations, and they've said time and time again since that they will not rewrite the charter agreement. So knowing that, I'm not sure how NASCAR and the teams can meet in the middle. I don't know how they find a clear 50-50 or even 60-40 resolution. The teams have made other requests, so maybe this does crack open the door towards future settlement talks. I'm not sure. It sure seems like the teams are willing to take this all the way to trial in December. But focusing on today's preliminary injunction request, I doubt the teams will be fully successful. Again, I'm not a legal expert, but I have followed this case very closely. I would not be shocked if the court came out and said, hey, 2311, Front Row, you are not going to be chartered teams the rest of this year. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You didn't sign the agreement. You chose to sue instead. You have to live with that decision for this season. But I could see the courts freezing these charter assets, telling NASCAR, hey, you can't sell these to anyone else until after this case is resolved. In my opinion, that's fairly balanced. The teams will have to race as open entries the rest of this season. That would put immediate financial pressure on them, especially if they're forced to return any of their previous charter payouts. But that's just money. That's the kind of thing that can be recouped in the event the teams win the lawsuit. That could be part of the damages NASCAR is forced to pay them. So that could be resolved down the line. What would be harder to resolve down the line is if these charters get sold off to other organizations in the meantime. So I could see the courts placing a hold or a freeze. I don't know what the legal technical term would be. Granting, I guess, the restraining order, restraining NASCAR from selling those charters in the meantime. I could see the courts agreeing to that. That seems balanced to me, but I guess we'll see what happens. I guess we'll find out likely later this week. Things have to happen quick because, again, Wednesday night, I believe, or maybe it's Thursday morning, the ruling from a couple weeks ago goes into effect and these charters can be rescinded. So things will happen fast this week. I hope that makes sense. I know this is getting tedious, believe me. When I woke up this morning and saw that another injunction had been filed, I was like, gosh, you gotta be kidding. In my last lawsuit-related video from about a week ago, I noticed this was one of the top comments. I don't get how this hasn't been a PR nightmare for NASCAR, with 68 upvotes. That actually got me thinking. This lawsuit has not been good PR for NASCAR by any means, but I think this commenter is right. I would not call this a PR nightmare in any way. This doesn't feel like a national story. It feels very localized in some ways. And some of that is, if we're being honest, NASCAR isn't the biggest fish in the pond that is American sports. Michael Jordan is a recognizable name for sure, but he also hasn't played basketball in over 20 years. I feel like his shoes are more relevant than he himself is right now. So that's part of it, but I think one of the bigger reasons this isn't a bigger national story is simply because fans are fatigued, like I was this morning. Another injunction, another step. How many more steps is it going to take until we get to the actual antitrust case? I think that's where most fans are at. I do this for a living, and even I'm burned out. Most people are waiting for the trial. They're waiting for actual long-lasting decisions to be made. And then, depending on the outcome, then this may become a much larger national revolutionary story. If the teams win and NASCAR is forced to restructure, completely change their business model, it'll feel kind of like when the NCAA was forced to adopt NIL. Most college football fans were not keeping up with that court case, which ironically also involved Jeffrey Kessler every step of the way. But when the results came down, when a ruling was determined, then everyone noticed and began seeing it impact their favorite college football programs. Everyone's waiting for an outcome, and then you'll get the big, strong, sweeping reactions. But that was an interesting comment because you're right. While this is newsworthy for sure, and a lot of hardcore NASCAR fans are talking about it and are trying to keep up with every step of the way, most fans, I think, are tired and just want to see real results, things with long-lasting implications, and we're not quite there yet. I don't blame people for feeling burned out. Like I said, this is my job to follow the sport closely every single day, and even I'm exhausted. So if this isn't your full-time job, I can't imagine dedicating much brain power, energy, or attention to it. It's a lot. It's tedious, no doubt. Anyway, those are just my thoughts. I saw that comment last week, wanted to address it. But that's the latest news, my quick reactions. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you think the teams are bluffing when they say NASCAR is going to sell their charters right away to rival organizations? Do you think NASCAR is bluffing in any part of this? What do you think happens? Will there be settlement, or will this go all the way to trial in December? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. That's it for me, folks. I will catch you again in the next episode. Hopefully our next conversation can be on-track focused more than off. Off-track stuff can be fun, but I wouldn't be mad if I never had to hear the word injunction ever again, frankly. See you in the next episode, folks. Thanks for watching.